shuts down, starts back up. That's the water leak sensor. Okay. So now this is your alarm bar. Red is the shutdown, yellow is a warning, and green is the operation. Okay. Let me think what else. What can we do here? Okay. Let's go over this control panel here a little bit more. So now in here we've got a CDA pressure switch and a nitrogen pressure switch. You've got the CDA flow. This controls your fresh water coming in. This controls your drain valve down at the bottom. So this goes right down over here. This is a normally open valve and it's energized to close. So when the system shuts down, it has that large nitrogen purge that we were talking about. You can hear the pipe purge going on. And then as soon as the system turns on, it shuts off this purge. Now the other thing that will trigger this purge is if you get the temperature above 110 degrees, then this temperature will in turn trigger that large nitrogen purge, which actually stops your reaction from going on. All right. Let's see. I've gone over a whole bunch of stuff really quick. Do you have any questions?
Okay, now, I assume that we started the pumps and everything on the side. Before we turn on the pumps, before we turn on any process, we come here first, we go step by step process. What are the switches we are to turn on?
Okay. When you start this system up, the only thing you're going to have to do is make sure that you have your water on.
Okay.
And then your nitrogen and air on, right?
Okay.
And then you press the... I'm going to go ahead and do this so that if that pump were to turn on, it would create a large spray of water. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this breaker, right? There we go. Now the pump can't turn on, no matter what the system wants to do. So then you just press start, you press the reset button a couple times, and the system should just start pumping, and the pump turns on, everything should start working. That'd be it.
So first as we come, we just turn on the switch.
From stop to start. Right?
And then before we do that, we watch everything.
You told me to turn that
Yeah,
off?
everything they should be. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And there we go. All right. Then everything should start up and you should be okay.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back from the first step. We want to do everything step by step and record it.
Okay.
So, what is the first thing we came in? What's the first thing we're going to check first?
First thing you want to check?
Yeah.
If I were just starting up the system or just wanted to do a maintenance check, I'd look down here and make sure I didn't have any water looking at it, right?
Okay.
So I check for water leak. Obviously we've got one, and then we would stop and fix that.
Okay.
Then I turn on my water, turn on my nitrogen and air.
Do I have to keep this water line always on? Is it okay?
You can keep it all the way.
All the way on.
Always on. Not a problem. And then you'll probably want to turn off your nitrogen and air, because you can see that you're using a large quantity of nitrogen right now
even
in the shutdown.
Even when the system is not on, it is still going to purge nitrogen.
Yeah, it purges nitrogen because of that valve that I showed you that was normally de-energized open, right?
Okay, so we are...
Right? Okay. That power may or may not be on. I would leave the system in a powered up state.
Okay.
You seem to have less failures of electronics if they don't change temperature. So I recommend leaving it on with power on and control the operation of the system with the stop and start button.
Okay.
So you would go from stop to start and run that. Okay?
And that is it. We don't have to worry about anything else.
No, nothing else. Nothing else.
Now, before that, regarding this nitrogen flow, CDA flow, and water, water we can leave always on.
Always on, yeah. Okay. All right. So the water's always on. Your CDA should be set to about 100 liters per minute.
CDA 1 is
or nitrogen should be set for about 100 liters per minute. And stage 1 and stage 2 CDA set about 1 and 5.
CDA 1 is 1?
Yeah, about 1 liters per minute, and about 5 liters. And you can actually look up in the manual exactly. There may be a calculation for your specific flow rate, but you've got a very low flow rate, and so that's about right. Okay, and then the system should just start and operate.
Okay. So this water line can always be on.
That water line can always be on, correct?
Okay. So nitrogen we have to turn it on all the time.
What?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen? Yes, you can turn it on and off. Because when you turn the power on, you can hear it still flowing, right? And if you were a production facility or factory, that amount, you 90% of the time would be operating the equipment and 10% off, so nobody cares about the small amount of nitrogen. But if you're 90% off and 10% on, then everyone cares about this amount of nitrogen, right? So there we go. All right. So now, obviously we've got everything good down here. This is done. Down on the pump, you want to change the pump out. That's fairly obvious how to change the pump out, right? One thing that you might notice, there's two halves of the pump, and so to get the pump out, you're going to have to break this connection, and then pull the pump out. And if you wanted to replace the motor or the head or something like that, that's how you do it. You can hear on the system, you hear the gurgling. That's actually just the vacuum from your process vacuum or the exhaust actually causing water up in there. That's what, it's not actually...
So it's normal sound back there.
It's normal, well, no, it's not a normal sound because the piping is broken. It sounds like we've got water going to everybody, but it's not. So it's
If the piping wasn't broke, you wouldn't be hearing this.
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now, let me think what else. The maintenance that's going to be done on a periodic basis, maybe once every 6 months, is you're going to have to take this fan clamp off, and you have to go in there and you're going to have to take the silane particle or the silicon dioxide or glass particles out of there, and it'll build up as real fine white powder. And so you'll just take and you'll disconnect this and this, and we'll go in there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that and let everyone take a look inside here, and so they know exactly where the heart of the system is. This they can see. That we need to go up there and take a look at. And also the level sensors that I was talking about are right down here. You can see my hand is right down there. And there's one here.
Okay.
And then there's one over there.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the level sensor right here. And then here's the other one. This one's the shutdown, and this one's the one that controls the flow switch.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and climb up on top there and take this part. So now, the first thing you want to do when you're doing this is you want to make sure that your tool has been locked out and bagged out so that no one can flow gases on you, and that you've got the vacuum pump shut off, because you don't want phosphine or dichlorine being blown into your face. That would make a very bad day, right? The very first time that you perform the maintenance on this, can you hand me any kind of wrench or anything? Like press wrench. Oh, that would work good. Just tap on that door. Well, maybe it's something bigger. I'm just going to use it. Thank you, sir. So the first time you perform maintenance, you should be in at least a half-face respirator, right? Because each process is different, and I can't predict how much off-gassing you're going to get out of this. But you may get some smells coming out of this while it's going on. So now, first thing, I'm disconnecting the pump.